I found Valentine's Day film for my Polaroid and it turned into a whole Galentine situation. All last year I told myself I was going to host more parties. So this year I'm following through. The first one this year is a Galentine's Day party. It'll be in a couple of weeks, so let's get started. I'm very excited. I don't know how big or small this will be, but I do know that it'll be a very fun time. This one is pretty prep heavy with crafts, baking, decor, and all the cozy little details, plus the honest version of what hosting in real life is also happening is like. Yeah, good job. This one was almost right. You just gotta go same, and pinch. A while back, I made my kids a happy birthday sign. I thought it would be fun to do one that says, "Love you" for Valentine's Day. I have these two fabrics that I got for a different project that we're gonna use. They're cute, perfect for the theme. Hear me loud and clear when I say this. I do not have hosting all figured out. I think I have probably several years of trial and error ahead of me. Like our first big pizza party, we somehow made the thickest crust known to man and everyone had to eat way later than I intended. But I think that's part of why I love it. At the end of the day, people don't really remember what the schedule was like. They remember how it felt to be included. This Galentine's Day theme started because I passed Valentine's themed film for my Polaroid camera and it became a full give a mouse a cookie moment because once I bought the film I needed an invite and then I needed decor and then when I had decor I needed snacks and then I needed a cake and suddenly I'm in a baking montage in my own head. My mom says she's planned a whole party around a good piece of cardstock before, so clearly I come by it honestly. Although I do live for a cute moment, the best part of hosting isn't even about the food or the decor. It's that it creates a reason to gather, a reason to slow down, catch up, laugh, and leave feeling a little bit more connected than you did before. That's what I want this to be. Easy, warm, welcoming, and not stressful. Now we're going to stuff these. I have this pillow that we don't love as a family, so I've been using it as stuffing as a way to not have to buy stuffing when we already have something that could work. Debating if I want to cut them first. Change of plans, I'm going to cut them first. And then I'm going to stuff them. Also, reality check. This week I'm juggling a few projects alongside party prep, so everything you see is happening in pockets. Nap time, a little bit at night, and whenever I can get a little bit of help from my sister or husband. And then it's going to be time to stuff these letters with some stuffing. If you're watching this and thinking, I could never, I just want you to know that this is not a perfectly organized, uninterrupted prep week. And also, you do not have to make your own sign to have the party. When it comes to decor, I try not to think that I have to decorate every single surface. Instead, I'll pick a few spots that make the house feel festive, like the table, the entryway, and maybe one other little themed area like my sign. I decided the sign needed a couple of hearts on the edges, and so I just kind of decided to freehand those. Because I have tiny helpers, I try to give them jobs so that they can be involved when they're around without it turning into chaos. It's not always smooth, but it is sweet. And to be honest, half of the point is to make memories with my kids and to show them what it looks like to be a good host. If hosting is a little bit overwhelming to you, here is the easiest way to do it. Pick one area to look amazing, just one, and then just let the rest of the house be normal life. It will still feel special, I promise, and also it might be helpful to have a side room or a closet or something where you can really just put anything that doesn't belong. Believe it or not, they will never know about your secret closet. I think this sign turned out so cute and I will be leaving it up for as long as I can get away with it. I made a few paper chains, which turned out super cute, and my son loved helping me. And then I looked for some inspo for Valentine's Day snacks. The board this book showed was super cute. I didn't end up doing it, but it would be an easy and fun touch if you're looking for one. Can hosting be my love language? I truly love it so much, and I really love. So this was kind of the perfect party theme for me, and I wanted to commemorate the occasion with little mini bags for everyone who was able to come. I went ahead and did their names on the bags, and then I made a couple extras just in case people came and it was a last minute addition. I used my sister as free labor with her beautiful handwriting to write a cute little note on our bathroom mirror.
Get ready to help Mom. What are we making? Cake. Oh. Okay. Is that what you wanted to make?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make.
You make cake?
I hope you're ready because here comes my baking montage. I could probably put the Rocky soundtrack on in the background because man, did this feel like I was getting ready for battle. Of course, this was something I was incredibly excited about, but it did take a lot of time and energy. So next time I will stick to one heavy hitter instead of trying to make a bunch of different baked goods work. Let's talk about all the food. We are making a strawberry cake right now. It's going to be heart-shaped. It may not be the most beautiful heart you've ever seen, but it will be very tasty. So tasty, in fact, that I am going to link the recipe because it was really that good. Pro tip, make extra of the strawberry stuff and put it in between the 2 layers of cake. Next up, we're going to make a big batch of cookies and a cherry pie. Then for the savory stuff, we made a little bit of spinach dip and did some chips and a charcuterie board. So we kept the savory very simple while really putting a lot of focus on the, well, not so savory. Because you can make the savory so easy with charcuterie and chips and dip and something else you can throw on a board and it'll still feed everyone, you can put more of your effort on cute items that make it feel like the occasion you're trying to achieve. Selfishly, a strawberry cake is my favorite cake, so obviously it just made sense, and especially because it's already pink. When it comes to hosting, I find that the best way to make it work is to have a good party timeline going way in advance. So I pretty much started the prep for this party as soon as I decided it was happening about 2 weeks before. Then I had a very important handy dandy note card that I wrote what needed to be done, in what order it could be done, and how quickly it would take me. So things like prepping the cake and stuff that could be done beforehand, I went ahead and put on like the Wednesday or Thursday before the Saturday party. Decor went up pretty far in advance, like at least a few days, and then just things that set the scene like tablecloths and stuff went out the day of. The simpler you keep things like the drinks and the food, the easier this is going to be. And honestly, if my mom hadn't shown up, a lot of the decor decisions that were made would not have gotten done and it would have looked a little less put together. I try to have a hard and fast rule that 1 hour before my guest arrives, I need to be done. I need to shower, get dressed, and be ready to enjoy and greet my company. Does this always happen? Absolutely not. A lot of times I'm scrambling and I have about 15 minutes before my first guest arrives. But if that's the rule, then that's the expectation and I can work toward that goal. When it comes to choosing a drink, I think that they can make a big impact. Even if you keep everything else simple, a signature drink makes it feel very hosted. We did strawberry mocktails and spiked Shirley Temples, which were cute, nostalgic, and easy. One little detail that I failed to remember is that you kind of need a pitcher for each drink, so we ended up having to make do with what we had on hand, which was a big jar. But in the future, I will be looking for a good second pitcher for my house from the local thrift store. This is where the cake started getting a little bit hard. It seems that when you cut off the finished edge of a cake, you no longer have something super smooth and awesome to apply icing to, so it started to kind of go everywhere and be a much bigger mess and deal than I intended for it to be. The fix for this ended up being to very roughly cover everything in the icing and then to go back and finish that cake later after it was pretty much frozen solid so that I could ice it and kind of smooth out the icing on it. I started to get really into my groove by this point and was just jamming along to some Taylor Swift while I got everything made out. It felt very appropriate given the theme of the party. These were lots of love songs, and it kind of brought me back to my college days when I would listen to lots of Taylor Swift while making cookies because that was my college job. There's one thing I really care about when it comes to gathering. I hate the idea of anyone feeling left out. I always try to invite as many people as I can comfortably accommodate, and I always try to include at least a few new faces. This keeps the energy feeling fresh in the best way, and it helps friendships form naturally without forcing it. This detail I'm working on here is something that I would likely skip next time. Although it was really fun, it took a lot of time and didn't have a huge impact, and this is one of those things that really could save yourself a lot of time and energy and make a party easier. I saw these on social media and thought it was a cute idea to cover a whole thing in moss, and ended up being like a $15 craft for no good reason and really did not have a huge impact on the outside of my house. I cannot wait for you to see this detail. It turned out so cute. But while we do that, let's talk about how I make sure that everyone feels included at a party. The key is to have at least one social butterfly friend coming, someone who pulls everyone in naturally into the conversation and makes everyone feel included. These people are such a gift and they set the tone without even trying. I'm fortunate enough to have one of my closest friends who is a true social butterfly and will often drive into town from like 3 hours away just to come to an event. She'll help set up and clean up, and always during the party she's making sure everyone feels so included, and it is such a gift. We are at the day before the party, and outside of naps, I definitely am in need of extra hands by this point. My husband handled a lot of the household stuff leading up to this. My sister is amazing with kids. And the day of the party, my mom showed up and took things to a whole other level. I just say this so everybody knows that hosting is so much easier when you're not trying to be the entire production team. And really, there is a whole background staff making these things look like they're going off seamlessly. This team, however, does not exclude me from being the preferred parent of a little one, so we spend a lot of time doing some back carries, and this little 9-month-old has done a lot of cookie decorating for someone her age. Now to talk about the favors. This was my favorite detail, not because it was expensive or fancy, but because it made people feel seen. Everyone went home with a bag with their name embroidered on it. They got to make a mini bouquet and a friendship bracelet because obviously it makes sense. It's a Galentine's Day party. It's small, but it feels very personal, and personal always wins. Let's take a quick vote. Would you rather have the cake or the cookies? And more importantly, what's your signature drink? Because I could use a few good options. Quick hosting Q&A while I finish up these very tasty cookies. How many people is too many? When you can't comfortably seat everybody or you're going to be stressed the whole time, that's too many. Do you do games? Usually no. Talking is entertainment, especially when it's all women. What if my house isn't perfect? Honestly, no one cares. People remember the warmth. People remember the feelings they had when they were around you. For this party in particular, I really did not plan anything further to be happening during the party. There was the friendship bracelet station and the mini bouquet making station, which were really cute and well-received details. Pride and Prejudice played on mute in the background with some fun music all about love playing on the speaker. And honestly, the main thing on the agenda was just girl time. We chatted about all things under the sun, from raw milk and home births to our favorite dance moves and what our dream walkout songs would be, you know, for like when we are called up to the MLB or something. The day of the party was a day that was full of little tasks that needed to be completed before everybody arrived. My mom showed up. My bestie rolled in with her cutie little baby and her daughter that's about the same age as my son, and we just all got to working. While I worked on learning how to lattice a pie crust, my mom got to work on showing me how it's actually done when it comes to hosting a party. It felt like getting to co-host a little party with her, and it was really fun. It was such a sweet thing to really get to see how the pros do it and to get to continue to learn the skill myself through the eyes of my mom, who was then in my house to do it. This is when things start to get really fun, when all the little pieces start to come together. The table gets set, the food starts to get styled, the cups are ready, the drinks get ready, and suddenly things are starting to look like you pictured it in your head, or even way better than you pictured it. I honestly don't care if it's trendy. I am a sucker for a good bow. Man, they're just so cute and they add such a fun touch to any little party detail. I had been lucky enough to get a lot of servingware passed down from my grandmothers and some from my mom as well, but I actually had very few glass cups that I was able to share. So I had my sister go to the thrift store right before and get a mix-matched bunch of them, which turned out really cute. My original idea for these cookies was to write the little phrases from the sweetheart candies that you can buy around Valentine's Day, but when I started, they just didn't have the same value add that I would have liked, so I just went and forgoed that, and I think that they turned out just as lovely without it. What would you have done? While my mom worked on the practical side of things, making sure that all the silverware was out and everything was ready, I worked on making some last-minute chocolate-covered strawberries, because what is a Valentine's Day event without chocolate-covered strawberries? They feel like just a cardinal part of the holiday. I call this my I'm effortless montage, where I pretend that I have it all together, because charcuterie is a cheat code. It looks fancy and takes like 5 minutes. The florals made the table feel romantic, and we've got the friendship bracelets because apparently I'm committed to the theme and I cannot be stopped. Fortunately, my very camera savvy friend was able to take over the camera work and get a bunch of wonderful shots before the guests arrived. However, once the party starts, I really could not be held liable to get great shots. This is where my camera time becomes short because I really want to be present. The vibe was exactly what I'd hoped. It was cozy, low keys, and the kind of night that makes you grateful you made the effort. To make matters even better, I got to change out of my dress and into pajamas because this was a pajama party. I mean, how fun is that? The thing about hosting is that it's really not supposed to be about perfection. It's about creating a place where people can exhale and really feel included. I went to bed doing the classic, what should we host next? And I woke up to the sweetest surprise from my mom. She had set the table with all the leftover florals. It made the next morning feel like the party kept going, just quieter, and honestly, that might have been my favorite part. Happy Valentine's Day! If you love love and hosting ideas that are actually doable, I'd love if you'd subscribe. I post more like this and daily motherhood content.